Welcome to the SDG Media Zone at the UN Youth Forum. Our topic today is Reimagining Climate Justice. If you're on social media, the hashtag is SDG Live. I'm Mark Fischetti, Senior Editor at Scientific American magazine. As you know, young people have often been at the forefront of movements for justice issues, for social change, and this is true for climate issues as well. So today we're speaking with three inspiring climate activists who are changing the way we use our natural resources and how people understand climate change. Quick introductions. Fatma is in Kuwait, who is a young champion of the UN Environment Program and founder of EcoStar, a company making a difference in reducing waste. Maximo is in Argentina. He's a Generation 17 young leader in the UN Development Program and founder of Eco House, which is, among many other things, educating children about environmental issues. And Sarah is in Colombia, and she's with the Youth Environmental Journalists Initiative at the UN Development Program. And she's worked on climate justice and civil rights issues for people most vulnerable to climate change. So we'll have a few questions and discussions. Let me ask each of you to start with, can you tell us briefly, what moment did you witness or what experience did you have that inspired you to take action for climate change? And tell us briefly what you were or your organization is doing to make a difference about that. Fatma, let's start with you.
Well, thank you so much for this great opportunity at the beginning. Well, I live in Kuwait, as you mentioned, which is a very, very small country with a very small population and a very high national income that comes basically from oil industry. So Kuwait is very rich. Kuwait is a great country. We don't have any sustainable development plan when it comes to any environmental issues here in Kuwait. We have waste management problems. We have air pollution problems. Kuwait is rated as one of the worst countries in air pollution and actually all type of pollutions. We don't have a support for green areas. Even when they cut all the trees everywhere around the country. We don't even have greening projects in general. In addition to all of that, we don't have environmental studies. If someone wants to see the numbers and statistics about the environment here in Kuwait and the issues that we're facing, we don't have it at all. So in 2018, I was thinking about it. I watched documentaries. I educated myself because honestly speaking, we don't have it here in Kuwait, at least not in the amount that is needed. And I watched a TV show called Khawatir in Arabic. And it was talking about plastic pollution and pollution in general and how that's going to affect the world and climate change. That was the first click. And I have initiated EcoStar a year later after studying the situation here in Kuwait. In EcoStar, we work on waste management. We collect recyclables from houses, schools, companies in cooperation with the recycling plants here in Kuwait. And in return of every time you give us recyclables, we're going to give you a plant, a tree, or seeds to encourage you to green the land around you. So you can grow your garden with your waste, or actually in exchange of your waste. In addition to that, we take numbers, statistics, with every time we pick up your recyclables for further studies in the future.
Great, thank you. Very, very, very interesting, and I'm glad you started us off. So Maximo, tell us what moment or what experience you had that inspired you to get into all this.
Okay, thank you very much. I grew up in a third world country where almost 50% of the population is poor. So it's crazy not to do something. When I was 17, I saw a sea wolf throwing up plastic and it broke my heart. I said I had to do something about it. I had to live to do something about it. And since then, I have been trying to contribute to change by working intensively with hundreds of activists around the world. And I am part of a nonprofit organization or movement called Eco House, whose main objective is to promote sustainable development through education and advocacy work We are almost 800 people just in Argentina. We're launching venues all around. We are like a club of people that get together to help. That's the idea. And I'm very happy to be here. Thank you very much.
Wow, 800 people. That's terrific. Good for you. Right. Sarah, tell us your inspiration.
Yeah, so I live in Colombia, and a couple of years ago, I had the chance of going to the Amazon forest with a medical group who was assisting one of the indigenous communities there. And I was very surprised because, I mean, we were in, I think it is the richest place in the world if you think about natural resources. But these people were some of the poorest people in the world. They went through all kinds of harshness, difficulties, because they didn't know how to make the most out of these natural resources that they had. So, for example, they didn't know how to grow crops. And things like this. They didn't know how to take wood without destroying the environment around them. Things like this. So I thought that if you don't understand what you have, how can you protect it? So this got me thinking into the importance of telling these stories, of sharing to the world about the environment and about how you can protect it and how people are protecting it in the world. So this is why I joined the UNDP Young Environmental Journalist campaign. And in this campaign, we were telling the story of Santurban. Santurban is one of Colombia's biggest more ecosystems. And this ecosystem is very important because it brings water to more than 5 million people around it. And this ecosystem is being endangered by some gold exploitation program that is being trying to be done there. And I met some of the most amazing young activists who were working for the protection of Santurban. I even met a 10-year-old who was doing a great job in bringing awareness to young people about protecting Santurban. He was amazing. I also met politicians, I met lawyers, I met social workers. And it was amazing being able to tell their stories to the world. They don't speak English. They live in one of the countries that's the most dangerous for being a social leader. So for me to be able to tell their stories to the world, I think that's a great way to help the environment.
I'm glad you brought that up because I wanted to ask each of you, we're the whole world has been dealing with the COVID pandemic, and so much attention's been focused on that, and rightly so. But as the world starts to recover and rebuild from the pandemic, what are some of the big climate opportunities you see coming? For example, do you see a real opportunity to prioritize the health of the planet now more than ever? Sarah, why don't you continue?
Yeah, I think that when we were in complete lockdown, I think nature was very grateful. I live in one of Bogota's busiest roads, and for the first time in my life, I heard birds in the morning when we were in lockdown. So this really got me thinking, and I think that many people thought about it. I thought two things. One, what do we really need to live in this world? Do we need all those clothes? Do we need to have 2 or 3 cars? Do we need all that money? What do we really need? And second of all, what does really matter in life? What does it matter if I have $1 million in my bank account, but there's no food and no water to buy? Or if I have a condo by the beach, but the beach is completely wasted in trash and there's no ocean, like things like this. So I think that in the upcoming years, many people are gonna raise many young leaders. I think this is a great chance because many of us are questioning ourselves, what does really matter and what do we really need? And if we ask ourselves these 2 questions every day, we can make small changes that will make a huge difference, like in the way we consume stuff, in the way we buy stuff, in the way we recycle, all these things. So I think this is a great opportunity, and I think it's a great future that's coming up.
Maximo, that sounds a lot like what you started to talk about just a minute ago. So what opportunities do you see for the health of the planet now that we're coming out of the focus on the pandemic?
Okay. During the COVID pandemic, the world stopped for a moment. Some people stopped 5 minutes, other ones 6 months. It doesn't matter because when we stop, we can think. We have time to see what's going on around us, to watch a documentary, to go from automatic to manual. I believe that it was a turning point. Nowadays, social environmentalism is growing exponentially in many countries. We are 10 times more than before. And not only activists from outside of the system. No. Politicians, companies, people that works in companies, etc., etc. So I believe that in the next 10 years, we are going to see change. We don't know if it's gonna be enough, but we are in a breaking point, and I'm totally enthusiastic and with a lot of hope
Good.
we are going to do the right stuff.
Hope is very important. Fatma, why don't you continue with this idea?
Well, yeah, sure. That's a very great and a very interesting point. In my opinion, one of the things that I've noticed here, at least in this part of the world, where our energy, for example, is not generated in an eco-friendly way, we had the chance to do so, to encourage eco-friendly green projects. During the pandemic, during the lockdown, yes, the air pollution readings were dropping. The prices of solar energy tools and eco-friendly energy in general was going down. So we had the chance to invest in this type of project. Unfortunately, we didn't, but we still have the chance to do so because we're still in the same path right now. So one of the things that I hope for right now is for the governments, for all around the world, to take an action toward the actual change. And I'm seeing that happen, probably not here in the Middle East, but around us, in so many parts of the world, the change is coming for sure. And a lot of people are going to go for green projects.
So I'm glad you brought that up, that there's still plenty of opportunity. And a couple of you mentioned, and Maximo in particular, politicians, companies, heads of international organizations. What would your message be to global leaders like that about making these visions happen? About making the larger sustainable development goals happen too, for that matter. But with special attention on how global leaders can help youth worldwide be part of the solution. Maximo, why don't you start?
With every crisis comes a revolution, right? So right now, the numbers of the climate and ecological crisis are chilling. Everybody knows them. We are not inventing anything. So we are starting to raise awareness in, as I said, politics, companies, etc. And I believe that when the generation is changing, now people that now is 30 years old, 35-year-olds from another generation, now they are having more power. They can make decisions, and I believe that we had to give space to youth. That's my message. Not to rule everything, just to work together, because we have new ideas. We are not like polluted with everything from the other paradigm. We want a better world. That's it. That's the message. We don't care about if we have money in the bank, as Sarah was saying, etc., etc. We want a better world. We want water for everyone. We want food for everyone, healthy food. We want that the species don't go extinct, etc., etc. So it's very simple, the equation.
Great. Sarah, why don't you pick up on that? You're nodding your head.
Yeah, I totally agree with what Maximo is saying. This is a time for revolution. I think that, again, if we all make small changes, we can make a huge difference in the future and see a very different future. For companies, if all of us make some initiative, a policy, a way that they can contribute, let's say recycling policy in small businesses, that's a simple way how you can make a change. if you help youth organizations, youth activists to get involved, to have the resources to do more, that's one way how CEOs and companies can help. It's not huge things. We're not asking for huge things. We're just asking for your support in the small things that we do in our everyday lives.
Right. Very, very well said. Fatma, do you want to add to that?
Yeah, well, everything they said is just so amazing, and I totally agree with everything, with every point they mentioned. Yes, we need support. Yes, we need all types of support, and especially here and where resources are available, we need the financial support, guidance, and everything around that. People and young people are ready to work, and we have to see the authorities' support to push us to do more and move forward.
So last question for you all. Given what you were just saying, which I love how you're inspired, and I love how you're specific, which is really helpful. So tell us one specific vision of what you would like the world to look like in 2030. Fatma, why don't you just continue?
Yes, well, in my opinion, one of the things I wish to see is no single products produced in the world, no single-use products for forever. We don't need them. We have good alternatives. We can do it. This thing is so doable. I don't know why that's not happening right now. So that's my vision. No single-use products.
Perfect. That's perfect. Sarah, how about you?
Yeah, for me, it's just people doing stuff for the environment on a daily basis without even realizing they're doing it. So, for example, hanging out at the beach, cleaning the beach just because, not because somebody asked you to, or being more consumption aware of what you buy, things like that.
Great. Maximo.
When I was in primary school, everyone asked us what we want to be when we grow older. But no one asked us, what do we want to be as society when we grow older? So we can work in that as a group of human beings that accept each other and work together. That for me is the more important thing. And if we do that, all the other stuff is gonna come around, all the environmental and social stuff. We need to accept each other visions, and I don't care if you are more liberal, less liberal in an economical way. Just think in the human factor, just think in the environmental factor, and that's it. That's the equation.